Hello and welcome to Podcasting and Radio Made Easy. My name is Steve Hart and thank you for downloading and listening to the podcast. I really appreciate it. You can check me out at stevehartmedia.com. Now, when I was a very young news reporter working for a local regional newspaper in the UK, there would be times during the working week when all the kind of news would dry up and the phone would not ring, there was no email, the fax machine was quiet and there was nothing in the post of any real note. So having made a few phone calls to your friends at the local schools and the emergency services, the friendly Bobby and the fire service chief and anything going on? No, okay, no. So we would what to do? You can't just sit there twiddling your thumbs because you've got paper to fill next week. You've got to go out and find some news. Well, that wasn't always possible, but what we could do, which was a kind of the get out of jail card, and to be proactive in generating some news, is to grab your notepad and pen, and in your case it would be a digital recorder of some sort, perhaps even just your phone, and literally go to my local patch, which wasn't near where I worked, so I'd travel kind of half an hour down the road in the car and go to my local area that I would cover, and just go to the high street and just stop people in the street and ask them their opinion on whatever it was that entered my head at that particular moment. And perhaps it's a decision by the council to do something or not to do something, or perhaps their opinion on vandalism at the local children's playground, or perhaps drug paraphernalia left in the children's playground by some people who might have gone there overnight under the cover of darkness. Whatever I could really think of to engage locals in conversation and get their opinions. And within half an hour, you would have a notepad full of people's names and their ages and what they thought about whatever it was I proposed to them. And people were really keen to talk. And it was a really great way, a really easy way of getting some great local news stories, because you're actually talking to the local people about what it is that might be concerning them. And even if you do ask a question about one thing, you might, if the conversation's going really well, say anything else bothering you about the town at the moment, and who knows what they're going to come out with. It could be the smell from the local water treatment plant or something like this, or perhaps too many kids burning out their cars along their street at 2 a.m. And so you end up with basically very quickly a bundle of story ideas on top of the actual news report of what the people are thinking in the street. Yesterday along the Southend High Street or whatever it was, the locals were concerned about blah blah blah, and Joe Smith is worried about this, and you got a nice story where you've actually spoken to people yesterday. The story is published today, and it's a really good way to bring the community into your newspaper. Now, here in this case, of course, we're not talking about newspapers, we're talking about local internet radio, and going out with your little digital recorder, whatever it is you have to hand, and interviewing people on the street about things that concern them or worrying them can make for really great radio. You've got to be, of course, careful on the legal side. You really only want their opinion. You don't really want them to say Joe Smith down the road has done this, that and the other and has committed a crime. You can't use that, of course. So you've got to keep it pretty light and pretty general, and not name names. But you can have good fun with it, and it really brings some lively, active content to your radio station. And if you do a local news podcast, well, the same applies to you too. Go out, interview people on the street about what's bothering them, and get some real local voices into your local content. And I highly recommend it. It's good fun, and it can be a bit nerve-wracking at first, just walking up to complete strangers and saying, hello, you don't know me, but if you've got a business card, that helps. Even today, where business cards don't seem to be the much used in many of the people I meet. I highly recommend you get some done. You know, your local radio station, your podcast, your name, your phone number, your email address, your website, just to give them something to walk away with, so they know who they've spoken to. They can, and they might become a fan or a subscriber and a listener to your output if they aren't already. So it's a little bit of marketing, and at least gives them something tangible to say when they get home. Who was that person I spoke with? I was stopped in the street today by this person, and they've got a business card, and it's something. And who knows, they might well ring you up or contact you somehow with some other news that and you start building contacts in the community. And also, you never know who you're speaking with. You could be speaking with some very, very influential and important people in your town, and perhaps some big business owners, and you never know who people know. So always act appropriately and keep things confidential as best you can. Okay, hope that helps you, because I think it's called Vox Pops, Vox Populi, a bit of Latin there, voice of the people, and it can be very rewarding. And if you start to build your confidence up doing this, it can be a really regular thing you can do. I would love to hear local radio stations doing it every week. You know, the voice of the people this week, and out on the street with whoever, and it can become a real really iconic little piece of radio that you could do each week. Okay, hope that helps you. My name is Steve Hart. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on Podcasting and Radio Made Easy. Cheers.